Do you all drink water before eating your meals? If you don't drink water, you can become dehydrated. And this dehydration, along with high blood sugar levels, when these two things mix, it can be life-threatening. Good morning from YouTube Medical University. Today we're discussing a common habit that could cut your lifespan. I'll introduce 5 morning habits. Depending on how you eat your breakfast, you can either start your day feeling good or end up feeling sluggish and tired. You may be less efficient, get little done at home, or feel so sluggish you become sleepy. It can really matter. Since we usually don't have much time in the morning, we tend to eat something quick for breakfast and often overlook eating unhealthy things, thinking it's unavoidable. But by changing this habit, you can improve your blood flow, prevent your blood sugar from spiking, reduce inflammation in your body, and even help prevent diabetes. In order to live healthily throughout the day and to enjoy an active, fulfilling life in the later years, it's really important to rethink your breakfast habits. If you put into practice what I'm going to introduce in this video, you'll start your day feeling better from the morning, and even 5 or 10 years from now, you can help prevent your blood vessels from getting clogged. I'll be introducing habits that can help lower your risk of diseases like stroke and diabetes, so please watch until the end. Who knew your eating habits mattered so much? Even changing how you drink water can really affect your health. I'll discuss this, so please watch until the end. At YouTube Medical University, we offer simple, reliable videos from a doctor's view to help you get healthier. If our content helps you, please consider subscribing to our channel. Now let's get started with the first one. Here is the first of the 5 breakfast habits that can shorten your lifespan: eating rice or refined flour noodles. Everyone, have you heard of the term glycemic index? The GI value is... It's a value that indicates how easily your blood sugar level can spike. In fact, recent studies have shown that a rapid spike in blood sugar causes something called age, which leads to inflammation in the blood vessels and damages them. So in order to maintain good blood flow and keep your blood vessels healthy, it's important to be careful about sudden increases in blood sugar. Actually, foods like white rice and udon noodles are well known for having a high glycemic index. White rice is 88. And udon is also said to have a GI value of 85, which is about the same. People often say that udon has more dietary fiber than white rice and is healthier, right? It's also said that udon is good for digestion and keeps you full longer, so people recommend eating udon. But actually, that's partly true and partly not true. When it comes to udon, I also tell my patients with gastroenteritis in the clinic that once their stomach starts to feel a bit better, it's okay to try things like rice porridge or udon. That's because udon is easy to digest. Also, when I used to play sports seriously, I would sometimes eat udon before a match, and that was also because it's easy to digest. When you're not feeling well or before playing sports, udon is highly recommended because it's very efficient for absorbing sugars. However, if you're not feeling unwell and you're not about to exercise, eating udon can be too easy to digest, causing your blood sugar to spike rapidly, so you need to be careful. And there are also reports like this. Udon can potentially cause insulin resistance, which means insulin becomes less effective. Insulin is the hormone that lowers our blood sugar. Diabetes is a condition in which blood sugar gets too high, so if insulin becomes less effective, it becomes harder to lower blood sugar. That's what it means for insulin resistance to increase. So if you're wondering what to choose instead of udon, I recommend eating soba noodles. Soba is famous for having a low GI value, and that's not its only benefit. Soba also has color, right? The fact that it has color, just like brown rice is highly nutritious, soba noodles are also rich in vitamins and minerals. That's what people say, so please make a point of eating it. 5 breakfast habits that shorten your lifespan. Here's the second one. We're talking about pastries. I think some of you buy pastries at convenience stores or supermarkets and eat them when you don't have time in the morning. However, if you want to stay vibrant later in life, you may want to cut back a bit on how often you eat pastries. Pastries are not a good breakfast choice. The reasons are that pastries are high in calories, contain too much sugar and lack nutritional balance. They also contain a lot of saturated fatty acids from butter, margarine and vegetable oil. A single pastry usually has There are about 200 to 400 kilocalories in one pastry. Everyone, if you dissolve a sugar cube in your coffee, it becomes sweet, right? So, calorie-wise, how many sugar cubes is a pastry equivalent to? Even with a simple calculation, depending on the type, you could be consuming the equivalent of nearly 20 sugar cubes in a short time that morning. And for most pastries, the majority of those calories come overwhelmingly from carbohydrates rather than protein or fat. Just like I mentioned earlier that udon has a high GI value, sweetbreads also have a very high GI value, so they cause a rapid spike in blood sugar, which is considered a risk factor for arteriosclerosis. It's easy to remember that foods like white rice, white noodles like udon, and bread made with white flour all have high GI values. Furthermore, in terms of nutritional balance, since they use refined white flour, important nutrients like vitamins and minerals are often not included. Also, you need to be careful about the oils that are used. There are saturated and unsaturated fatty acids. Saturated fatty acids include things like butter, margarine, and vegetable oil. Because these oils are cheap and easy to use, they are often used in sweetbreads. These saturated fatty acids are exactly the kind that increase the amount of fat in your blood vessels, raising your cholesterol levels. They raise the risk of diseases from clogged blood vessels, while unsaturated fatty acids are in olive oil and flaxseed oil. They're also commonly found in fish oil and nut oils, and these oils actually help lower cholesterol, which in turn helps prevent arteriosclerosis and lowers the risk of diseases from clogged blood vessels. Many foods have these beneficial oils. So it's not that all oils are bad, but please pay attention to the type of oil being used. I've made videos in the past about the health benefits of nuts and fish oils, so please check those out if you're interested in learning more about oils. I know I've been criticizing sweetbreads a lot, but what kinds of foods do I actually recommend? Recently, convenience stores have started selling breads that are rich in dietary fiber and have a lower sugar content. Also, breads made not only from wheat but from a variety of grains like barley can be rich in vitamins and minerals. So be sure to check the ingredient labels on the back of the products or consult with your doctor to find out which options are safe for you to eat. The third of the 5 breakfast habits that can shorten your lifespan is drinking fruit juice. When you hear about fruit juice or smoothies, don't they sound healthy to you? It's pretty common to see orange juice served at hotel breakfasts, right? But the ones that are generally sold, you need to be careful with fruit juice. The sugar in fruit, called fructose, is a type of sugar that's absorbed relatively efficiently. If you've been watching the video up to this point, you might have already guessed, but sugars that are absorbed efficiently can easily raise your blood sugar levels. Recent studies have even reported that fruit juice can increase the risk of diabetes. And fruit juices labeled as 100% juice from concentrate may seem healthy, but the way they're made often results in the loss of vitamins during the production process, and in many cases, the important dietary fiber is completely removed. Because of these reasons, if you blindly drink fruit juice thinking it's healthy, you might unknowingly be progressing toward diabetes without realizing it, so please be careful. Making drinks sweet is actually a very tricky thing. How many sugar cubes worth of sugar do you think are in a bottle of sports drink? Actually, in 500 ml, there are some sports drinks that contain almost 10 sugar cubes worth of sugar. On the other hand, our blood contains sugar as well, since we talk about blood sugar levels. But do you know how many sugar cubes are dissolved in our blood? If your blood sugar level is 100, that means there's only about 1 sugar cube dissolved in your blood. Even so, when we keep absorbing sugar from fruit juice or sports drinks, our body thinks it's not good for the blood sugar level to be this high. So, insulin is released from the pancreas, and it works hard to lower the blood sugar level. If blood sugar stays high for too long, the pancreas, which makes insulin, gets overworked and exhausted, or you may develop insulin resistance. Your body adjusts to high blood sugar levels, and insulin becomes less effective, making it harder for your blood sugar to go down. So instead of drinking fruit juice, make sure to eat whole fruits as they are. And I recommend making your own smoothies so you can get the important nutrients from fruit like fiber and vitamins, just as they are. I've made a more detailed video about fruit juice, so please check it out from the description below. 5 breakfast habits that shorten your lifespan. The 4th one is eating foods high in sugar first. On busy mornings, it's easy to end up eating only foods you can quickly shovel down, but it's really important to eat vegetables. Have you heard of the term veggies first? What I've been consistently explaining in this video is the importance of not causing a rapid spike in your blood sugar levels. So, what should you do to avoid a rapid spike in your blood sugar levels? The recommended method is called Veggie first. In fact, I sometimes instruct patients on the order in which they should eat their food. For example, a 78-year-old man who still works as a newspaper delivery man and visits my clinic wakes up at 3 in the morning to deliver newspapers. After eating lunch, he said he always gets sleepy, ends up sleeping too much in the afternoon, and feels like he wastes the whole day. When I explained the Veggie First method to him and had him try it, he was surprised to find that after eating lunch he no longer felt sleepy and was able to stay active throughout the afternoon. That's what he said. This is just one example, but by eating vegetables first like this, it's highly likely that he was able to prevent his blood sugar from spiking and suddenly feeling sleepy. I also make sure to always eat vegetables first, whether I'm eating at home or dining out. If you start by eating foods with a high GI value, which raise blood sugar easily, your blood sugar will spike rapidly and then insulin will be released all at once, causing it to drop sharply. This is called a blood sugar spike. These fluctuations in blood sugar, or blood sugar spikes, are actually said to increase the risk of arteriosclerosis. There is a Japanese study that looked at whether eating vegetables first can improve health. They divided participants into two groups. One received conventional dietary guidance and the other was instructed to eat vegetables first, chew each bite at least 20 times, and choose foods with a low GI value. They then compared diabetes-related values between the two groups. After 6 months, they found that the group practicing Veggie First and similar habits had lower levels of hemoglobin A1C, which is the average blood sugar value. One important point about this study is that it wasn't just about eating vegetables first. The participants also chewed each bite at least 20 times and chose foods with a low GI value. The research showed that when all three of these habits were practiced, hemoglobin A1C levels decreased. So when you eat breakfast, try starting with vegetables, chew well, and choose foods with as low a GI value as possible. There are many Japanese foods with a low GI value. Some recommended low GI foods include whole grain wheat bread, brown rice, soba noodles, and soy products. Natto and tofu are examples, so please try at least one of them. Here is the 5th breakfast habit that can shorten your lifespan: not drinking water. Many people might be surprised at whether or not you drink water can have such a big impact on your health. Do you drink water before eating your meals? If you don't drink water, you can become dehydrated. And when dehydration and high blood sugar levels are combined, these two factors together can lead to life-threatening conditions. When your blood sugar level becomes too high, diabetes causes a condition called polyuria, where sugar is excreted through your urine and a large amount of urine is produced. As a result, you rapidly lose fluids and become dehydrated. If you don't drink enough fluids at that time, or if the fluids you do drink contain too much sugar, dehydration will get worse, your blood sugar will rise even more, you'll urinate even more, and dehydration will continue to worsen, creating a vicious cycle. This is called a hypoglycemic emergency, and it's a life-threatening condition. So, how should you drink water? Should you drink water right before breakfast? Actually, that's not the case. Try to drink 2 glasses of water about 30 minutes before you eat your meal. By doing this, your stomach expands and you feel full more easily. In fact, there is a study showing that people who drank 2 glasses of water lost 4 kilograms more than those who didn't. Eating a big breakfast can quickly spike your blood sugar, making you feel tired. It may also harm blood vessels and raise your risk of clogged arteries later. The risk will increase, so to prevent that from happening, please try to make it a habit to drink 2 glasses of water before breakfast every morning. If you chug water right before eating breakfast, it can actually dilute the digestive juices in your stomach, making digestion and absorption less efficient and possibly causing symptoms like diarrhea, so please be careful about that. Let's review what we've covered so far. I've explained that among the 5 breakfast habits that could shorten your lifespan, white rice and udon have a high glycemic index and require caution. The second one is sweet pastries. I explained that sweet pastries are high in calories, often lacks nutritional balance, and tends to be deficient in vitamins and minerals. The third one is fruit juice. Fruit juice contains a large amount of sugar, and many types have important nutrients removed, so I recommended eating whole fruits instead. Then, I explained the eating order as the 4th point. I explained that by eating vegetables first, chewing well, and choosing foods with a low glycemic index, you can generally lower your blood sugar levels if you have diabetes. And finally, the 5th point. I explained that simply having the habit of drinking water can actually help with dieting. Please try drinking 2 glasses of water about 30 minutes before breakfast. What did you think? Here at YouTube Medical University, we talk about preventive medicine and how to prevent diseases at the pre-illness stage before you actually get sick. At hospitals, reimbursement is generated through treating, diagnosing and testing illnesses, so there are actually very few opportunities to talk about how to avoid getting sick in the first place. With that awareness of the issue, I'm sharing easy to understand videos on YouTube from a doctor's perspective that can help you become healthier starting tomorrow. If you find these videos helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and if you don't mind, share them with people around you. It really motivates me. Also, if you have any experiences like I felt better after eating this, or I was told it's not good to eat that, please share them in the comments section. And whether it's a like or a dislike, if you could rate this video, it will help me improve future videos. Well then, see you in the next video.